Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What is going on, Fantasy Champs? Welcome
What's going on?
What's popping, Rick?
What's up, bro?
I'm doing fantastic. Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon on the other side of the screen. It is now officially week 6, I guess.
It is.
Hopefully you enjoyed that Thursday night football game where I heard Lamar went freaking bonkers.
Monday night football game?
Monday night football. What did I say, Thursday? Why do I keep doing that?
Yeah.
Why do I keep doing that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Thursday night.
The Thursday night football game where Lamar went off. Yeah, no. Monday night football game where Lamar went off. Hopefully you won your fantasy weeks. You have 50 points from Lamar. You probably won. You got 41 points from, this is half PPR, from Mark Andrews. You probably won. So it was one of those nights. I was hoping for a 20-point game from Ravens D, but one can't have success all the time. All I needed, I think all I needed was 12 points, and I got 7.
12 points and you got 7. That is really unfortunate, actually.
Lost by 4.
That is super unfortunate.
It was one of those weird ones where, you know, the defense only scores even numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, it's 133.2 to 133.30. It's like, oh, frick, I need another sack. Need a lot more than that because the frick were they playing?
Ooh, oh, the Colts.
The Colts. Yeah, the Colts decided to go bonkers.
Well, Jonathan Taylor decided to go bonkers.
Did he have a good game?
Dude, you're so out of the loop, huh?
I really am. I have to look at the numbers. This is
He had a 76 receiving yard touchdown.
normally I would care less about baseball, but the Red Sox are in it, and they're in it to win it, and I'm distracted. So
He had 30
give me a second. I did prepare for this show, just not to talk about Monday Night Football.
Yeah, he had 30 fantasy points.
Okay. Man, dude, if you listen to us in week 3 tell you to buy Jonathan Taylor, you are winning that deal. 18 fantasy points last week, 30 this week. Houston has been surprisingly good against the running game, so we'll see what he does. But anyway, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that game. Hopefully you enjoyed all of week 5, won some DFS games, won some fantasy matchups. We're going to try to give you the best analysis we can this week of the waiver wires. I feel like this midway point in the season, you start to lose. You should have spent your money first 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season. If you did not, you're holding on your waiver budget for absolutely nothing because nothing's going to happen. You know, I'm all my leagues. I think all the handcuffs of running backs are loaded up, so there's not going to be a reason for you to run out and dump $1 million in waiver budget on one particular guy because Saquon Barkley popped his ankle again.
Right.
I don't even know who's starting for them.
Booker.
Oh, great. So, yeah, he's probably going to be the waiver wire this week. Frick me.
Yeah, he will.
But anyway, yeah, so at this point in the season, you're really looking for guys. I guess, for me, I guess a lot of times it's the rookie wide receivers on the waiver wires between like week 6 and 12 or 14. Because usually it takes rookie wide receivers the first 6 to 8 to 10 weeks to start breaking. The ones that end up playing good at the end of the season, not including Jamar Chase or Devante Smith. Devante Smith's really like just off and on at this point. He kind of does look like a rookie, but
he's been good. He just can't really score touchdowns.
Yeah, he hasn't been consistent with his production. But
that's true. Yeah,
Jamar Chase has been consistent. It's funny because he really isn't putting up massive target share totals. They're targeting him like they did AJ Green in the red zone last year.
Yep.
Except he's good enough to catch the ball.
Yeah.
So anyway, so usually you look at guys like I've seen over the last couple weeks. I don't know if it's somebody that we're going to talk about today, but Amon-Ra St. Brown had like 2 10-point games in the last couple weeks. His target share has been increasing. There was an injury to that receiving core.
Oh,
He's the youngest guy there, so it's like,
yep.
I don't think he loses that job if he's having success with it. Like the other guy's not. The other guy I think is just an undrafted free. So like, just get him on your 4th round pick, and so that's the kind of stuff that I look for mid-season. But it's not going to dump all your waiver budget for it. So anyway, we'll talk about waiver wire today. What were you going to say, Rick?
I was going to just say, the Lions have 2 wide receivers on IR. So Monroe might be the number 1 receiver on the team. It doesn't necessarily mean he's the number 1 option because it's, I think, still Hawk and probably Swift.
He's getting targeted more than Hawk is. Frick me. Maybe I can put him at tight end.
Yeah, that's true. Hawk's had 3 straight really bad weeks, huh?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not able to talk about that at this moment.
Okay.
I have Hawk in too many leagues. I need to stop that. But anyway, you ready to get started on the waiver wires? I didn't even talk about the intro to the show. But anyway, before we jump into the waiver wire, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just type our name in, you'll find us. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, leave a review, share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notices, like and comment down below. Any questions you have about the waiver wire, we'll get to them. We will get to them. So let's jump into the waiver wire week 6 edition. Rick, we're going to have to really pony up this quarterback position a little bit because it doesn't look like we have too much information in here. We'll start this off because Geno Smith did okay in relief of Russell Wilson. Are you at all intrigued by picking him up and possibly seeing where it goes to then start him if he ends up performing well?
In a redraft league, not really. Not really. Maybe if you're in a deep league, you need a quarterback, fine. But I don't expect Geno Smith to be putting up 30 fantasy points a week or even 25 fantasy points a week or maybe even 20 points a week. He's playing the Steelers this week and then the Saints next week. Like I'm not interested. I don't really see it with Geno. So no thanks.
The big thing is that if he had a strength of schedule down the stretch here for the next 4 to 6 weeks while Dak is figuring out his finger, which is pretty nasty, by the way. Did you see that?
I did not.
Bending back. It was kind of gross.
Oh, for
Russell Wilson. But anyway, but Geno came in. He played well in relief of what's his name? Russell Wilson. Just said it 5 seconds ago and I already forgot. But anyway, he played good in relief of Russell Wilson. But like Rick said, the schedule over the next 4 to 6 weeks is not necessarily conductive of successful fantasy production for a guy who is not really a good quarterback. So just watch. I think the only thing he really would provide is possibly some rushing upside.
Yeah.
But I don't think
even then it's
if you are interested in Geno Smith, you could watch him for a couple weeks, but if somebody else jumps out in front of you and wastes all their waiver budget on him, don't cry over spilled milk. What about Taylor Heineke? What are your thoughts on him?
He's kind of up and down too. He's playing against Kansas City this week, so it's actually not a bad matchup. The Chiefs' defense has been horrible this year. So I'd say he is streamable, but he's just so wildly inconsistent. But yeah, I mean, he had 3 straight weeks with against the Giants, Bills, and Falcons where he played very good fantasy-wise, and then last week against the Saints was horrible. So we'll see, but he has a good rushing floor. I think against Kansas City, he is streamable, though.
Okay, fair enough. There's not a lot left on the waiver wire. What do you think of Carson Wentz is rostered in 22% of the leagues? I'm in the wrong league, so I'm looking at 5-point touchdowns. But he's had like 2 20-point games on the season. Is he streamable this week?
Yeah, he hasn't been very good fantasy-wise. But against Houston, he might be a decent option. I think I'd actually rather Heineke, though, but Wentz isn't a bad option.
Okay, fair enough. He's actually not been bad. He doesn't really rush it all that much anymore. But...
Well, that's his... If you just... Like, he hasn't been bad, but fantasy wise, he's getting like 17, 18 points a week, which is good. I mean, it's decent, but it's not like, it's not great.
Hey, he's basically got Mac Jones numbers without the interceptions for Mac.
And a little more touchdowns, let's be honest.
Maybe Mac has 5.
Wentz has 7. So yeah, I guess it's not crazy.
Anyway, don't pick up Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Some have suggested Ben Roethlisberger, and
because he has a good matchup.
He has a good matchup this week against Seattle, but he has just been putrid. I would tell you not to do that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. He hasn't had 20 points yet this season, so
Rick,
take that.
Rick.
Yeah.
What about Davis Mills?
Yeah, he torched Bill Belichick, so now he's gonna win MVP starting this week.
Boy. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to see how many. Let's. Okay, so right now his roster percentage is 59%. Okay, this isn't a dynasty league superflex though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let me find a league where it's not that.
Look at just the redraft league.
Okay, hold on.
Because it's so funny. He had 4 interceptions, 87 yards passing.
Rostered in 5% of leagues. What I want to see is how many people actually pick this guy up tomorrow.
It's probably going to go up to like 15%.
I'm going to look at, because I know some people in our league that would get lit over that guy.
Oh, yeah, maybe even 20%. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, don't do that. I will suggest to you right now, do not do that if you have any kind of options.
He went from 4 interceptions, 87 passing yards, 11 of 21, to 21 of 29, 312 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Woof.
That's kind of scary.
Against New England.
That's the scary part.
Which is more scary, the New England Patriots giving up that many fantasy points to a terrible quarterback, or unless he's what if this is the launching pad for Davis Mills?
He just turns into the next Andrew Luck.
Yeah, dude, he's just elite.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's not good. Anyway, I don't think there's anyone else on the waiver wire for quarterbacks. I don't know if you wanted to reference anybody. I know Daniel Jones is still out there, but he effectively put up 4 points this week. Did he get hurt?
Yeah. Concussion. You're out of the loop.
Nah, bro, I forgot. All right, he got a concussion. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that happening. It just took me a second.
Yeah.
Is he going to be out this week, you think?
Probably.
Okay. Would you want to start him against the Rams if he plays?
No.
Me neither.
No. Well, Daniel Jones against good defenses is actually pretty good, so who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, all right, so let's move on to the next position, which is the running back position. This one probably will go pretty fast. Rick, why don't you start it off with the guy that everyone's probably going to talk about, which is Devante Booker. There's also another injury at the running back position. We'll talk about this guy next, but we had Saquon go down, 4 to 6 weeks with ankles?
Saquon actually might be out for less time than the other starting running back.
Okay.
So what I've seen from Saquon is 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, that would Devante Booker. That would make him an RB1 for 2 weeks, or at least close to it. Against the Cowboys, he had 19 fantasy points, but he was still bad. Like,
who's this, Booker?
16 carries for 42 yards. Yeah, Devante Booker. 16 carries for 42 yards. That's 2.6 yards a carry. He did have 2 touchdowns, though, a rushing and receiving touchdown. So he'll have good usage, but if he doesn't score those touchdowns, he's not going to be great against the Rams. It's kind of gross. But he's still worth a pickup and probably a plug and play into your lineup as well, because he's even though he might not be efficient, he is going to get that volume. So he's probably going to get at least 10 fantasy points for you with potential upside for getting a touchdown. Yeah, so he'll be worth a pickup, and I think you should definitely pick him up, especially if you have Saquon or another running back that went down this week or last week. Yeah, he's worth a pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Booker. Like Rick said, the efficiency is not going to be there, and to be honest with you, maybe I don't like him because, I mean, on bad matchups, Saquon was already having trouble, and he's talented.
Yeah.
Like, Devante Booker is not talented. I feel like everyone just gets excited about not that Booker's not a new thing, but like they get excited because they're like, ooh, it might be half Saquon Barkley for free on the waiver wire, and then they go out and snag him, and it's like, no. And then the worst part is they start him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're not getting Saquon production out of that guy. He wasn't drafted to be, onto the team like Madison was in the 4th round or Pollard was in the 4th round for their respective teams to be a handcuff for their running back, essentially, a real-life handcuff. Booker is just a guy that they signed who blows.
Yeah.
So, but Rick's right. Volume will probably be there. If he has a good matchup, the efficiency might be there too. But if there's mostly bad matchups, I just don't know that unless we see something good from him, I don't know that we can be like, okay, I feel safe starting him this week against whoever. And I know there's going to be questions about whether or not you should start Devante Booker, and I'll just address those now. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I would put some waiver budget on him if you have extra roster space and be like, okay, we'll see what happens. But as far as like Booker is concerned, I'm not spending the whole ship away.
Yeah.
Especially on that. Especially when you have another guy on the waiver wire that we'll talk about, because I feel like these are the only 2 freaking guys that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Daryl Williams. So, in case you do not know, Clyde went down. It's MCL sprain. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
So, he is out. He placed him on IR. So, he's going to be out at least 3 weeks, I believe it is. Most likely more. Because the IR is 3 weeks, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, this is an offense that I would be okay with purchasing the running back. And the reason why is because, like, you talk about how good Saquon is, how bad the offense of the Giants is, and how Saquon he's been really good at times and really not good at times and been inconsistent. I think it's mostly because his offensive line is trash. His offense really isn't that good. They don't score a lot of points. And so it's like there's not a lot of opportunities for a guy like Saquon Barkley to have production. He gets all of the volume, and he shows in some games that he is extremely talented. Whereas if you get a situation like this with the Chiefs, the volume I don't think is going to be as much as Booker's would be. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but I think it's a better situation than you would find from the other side of things with Saquon or Devante Booker. So this is the guy I would buy. Like, if you had an option for both of them, and you didn't get Williams, then a very bad consolation prize would be Devante Booker. But I would definitely go after Daryl Williams this week. Last week, I think he had against Buffalo. He played 43% of the game or 43% of the snaps. I don't know do you know when Clyde got hurt in that game? Was it? I think it was
half? Like second quarter, late second quarter, but. It was a very negative game script for Williams because they were losing by like 2 touchdowns by the time Clyde went down, or touchdown at least. And they were losing that whole game. So they weren't really running the ball. He did get 5 targets, which is good. I think most of that was when Clyde went down. Jared McKinnon, though, is someone that you do have to keep an eye on because he had 30% snap percentage. I think all of that pretty much was when Clyde went down. So they did use both guys. Williams was the guy that they used more of, and Williams will get the goal line work as well. He's the bigger running back. He got the goal line work even with Clyde for a little bit.
Right.
So that is good for Williams, and I think he's still involved in the pass game. So Williams is definitely the guy to own, but you're right. It won't be the same volume, I don't think, as Booker. Booker feels like he's going to get all the work for the Giants, while Williams might get like maybe 70%.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's snap. If he's at 65, 70% snap percentage, that's all he really needs, I think.
Oh, yeah. I agree. He's definitely worth a pickup. He also has good matchups. He has some good matchups coming up. So
Washington, Giants, Green Bay, Las Vegas Raiders, who lost their head coach.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a whole other like show. I don't really want to talk about what happened with him. But I was thinking about it earlier today, just as a complete side note, as we transition to wide receivers. I go pick up Daryl Williams. How much FOB on him?
Do you need a running back? The thing is, Clyde will come back, so it's not like you can
you're not going to
put all your money on it. But
I would say like 10-15%.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. So I was going to say, now that John Gruden's gone, John Gruden was, I'm going to absolutely force feed Darren Waller as much as I could, shove it right down his throat, as many targets as I could. And now he's gone. Are we concerned about Darren Waller's target share, or should we just be like,
no? I think he's still fine because that was a lot of Gruden, but Derek Carr still loves Darren Waller. So
okay, fair enough. It's gonna be a disaster there. It's probably gonna collapse. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it will. 100% will.
But anyway, let's move to wide receivers. So Kadarius Tony absolutely lost his mind this week. It's kind of funny because like he wasn't like a sexy guy, and I'm kind of sick and tired. Can I say this for a second? I'm kind of sick and tired of the Twitter stans who are like, they either hate a guy or they love a guy, and they use analytics or film to destroy a player or not destroy a player. And I'm like,
there's analytics. Sorry,
it's like analytics. And so, but I feel like you really like, yes, you can use those things to analyze a player, but I don't know why people take such like strong stands. I'm like, like just relax. Like this isn't the end of the world. Like, why did you have to crush Kadarius Tony? He's not that bad. Like,
no, he's actually pretty good. Like, if you for the people that watch the games. If you watched the game against the Cowboys and even the Saints, like you see why people like them and were willing to draft them high. The Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Giants were all willing to draft him relatively high because he has like real talent when it comes to his shiftiness and like his ability in the open field. Like he does have real skill. It is funny because people were so down on him. Even I was down on him because more landing spot, which was dumb of me.
Yeah. The Giants blow.
The Giants do blow. So I was kind of like, but pre-draft, I wasn't that low on Tooney. I think I had him as like my wide receiver 7 or 6
in rookie rankings,
something like that. Yeah. And people who were like saying like that was too high. Like most people didn't even have him in their top 10. It was like, he like he has a very good ability to make people miss. So if a team used him right, then he could be really good. And it feels like the Giants are using him like that, and they're just getting him the ball in space, and he's making things happen.
Yeah, no, it's smart.
He's honestly a better route runner than I thought he was. He ran a couple of nice routes against Diggs, who has been one of the best corners in the NFL.
You just never know.
Yeah. So he's but I will also say
he's still with the Giants.
He's still with the Giants, and Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton has been out the last 2 weeks, which is the reason he's getting this opportunity.
Yeah.
But when they come back, I don't know if they're gonna keep using him because he's earned it.
Honestly, I think he's better. Or
they're just benching because
like
I do too.
Kenny Galladay is going to get his work.
This is a hot take, but
Tooney should be the number 2 wide receiver on the team.
I think Galladay kind of stinks. Kind of a hot take, but just watching it, I don't know if to be fair, it could be injured. But
would you rather have? I don't know how much Kenny Galladay went on the market. Would you rather have the Pats have dropped the money they spent on Johnny or Kenny Galladay?
I'm glad. Well, Johnny hasn't been good, but I think Kenny Galladay got paid
in a corner.
$70 million though. Johnny was like 50.
That's not good.
So yeah, Johnny hasn't been good, but I would rather Johnny at that money than Kenny Galladay.
That's fair. We're going to talk about 3 wide receivers because I want to get through this quickly. So pick a second one that you want to talk about, Rick. Well, I was just going to reference something about Kadarius Tony while you're selecting in your brain. So anyway, this is what I was talking about earlier on the show where you're talking about middle of the season, the rookie wide receivers start figuring out. Guys like Kadarius Tony are getting more target share. They're starting to figure out defenses in the NFL a little bit more, what works, what doesn't work, all that stuff. And you're seeing Kadarius Tony get more target share the last 2 weeks, mostly because these guys have been out, like Rick said, but he's had 9 targets and 13 targets in the last 2 weeks, put up 13 and 29 fantasy points. This is a guy that I would put waiver budget on, especially going up against the Rams list this week in week 6. The Rams have given up a pretty handsome amount of fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So I would say Tooney is a good play against the Rams. But I would pick him up this week and see where it goes. And if he ends up ends up like trash against the Rams and Carolina and Kansas City, what are you going to do? Drop him? Like, what's the worst case scenario? So I would pick him up this week. I think that's really good. Rick, tell me what guy you want to talk about next.
Personally, I think I am intrigued by Rashad Batman if he's available in your league.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is because we both were kind of iffy on Bateman just because of his landing spot with the Ravens, but we like the player, right? But the Ravens just don't throw the ball enough. They, that's really the big thing is they just focus on the run. They don't throw enough.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson this past week, you know how many passing attempts he had?
How many?
43. He went 37 of 40.
And they're throwing the football more.
They are throwing the football a lot more. So if that's the case, Rashad Bateman he's coming back this week. He was supposed to actually come back Monday night, and then they were like, nah, forget it. He'll play this week against the Chargers. If they keep throwing the ball like that, and Bateman is the type of player that we thought he was pre-draft, Rashad Bateman is going to be really good as a rookie. Like he has a chance to be really good, and he definitely intrigues me a lot. And if he's available in your league, I think he should be picked up because if he has a breakout season, and if they continue to throw the ball that much, he's going to be good. He's going to be very good.
I would 100% agree with that statement.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and you know how much I love Bateman. Didn't love the landing spot, so my heart broke. So maybe he's good.
Yeah.
Hollywood's been ridiculous though, so I don't know.
That's what I mean. But Hollywood has been ridiculous, but I think that's just because he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he drops the ball
people thought
too much.
The people were off the train. They were treating him like he was Henry Ruggs, who I still think is good. I think he's so good.
Henry Ruggs is good. Yeah, Henry Ruggs is good. But yeah, Bateman. It's also because they're throwing the ball more though.
Bateman's he's a different type of receiver too.
He is,
While you have, Marquis Brown, who's a streaky receiver. He's a guy that you like to get open in space and throw a deep to. And use his speed to his advantage. Bateman's a big-bodied wide receiver. He's still got good speed, but he's a big-bodied wide receiver who's going to be a red zone target. And when they get down there in the red zone, it's going to be Mark Andrews. It's going to be Rashad Bateman. So, at least in the future, we'll see how he adjusts as a rookie first week he plays. But I agree with Rick. I would definitely put some waiver budget on him and try to get him this week. The guy I would say, Amon-Ra St. Brown, really quickly, I mentioned him earlier. He's I think in the last 2 weeks he has 16 targets or something like that. So he's been getting an increase in target share. He's had 10 fantasy points the last 2 weeks. I'm not one to buy into the Detroit Lions passing game, but he's only owned in 30% of leagues, and you probably can get this guy for free. So where you're going to have to spend waiver budget on Tony, and you're probably going to have to spend waiver budget on Bateman if people in your league know who he is. I would say Amon-Ra St. Brown's a good ad. You want to jump into the tight end?
No, I would agree, but yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Real quick though, if Hunter Renfro is available in your league because he's on this list, pick him up. Yeah.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do offensively, but
yeah, it's true.
All right. So we told you about Hunter Henry last week. Starting him in our starts and sit show. Would you pick him up?
Yeah, he should be picked. He's clear. Jonu's been.
He's our
I think after that game against the Saints, Jonu officially labeled himself as the tight end too. So Hunter Henry's the top tight end target in that offense, and he's very good this week. And I think he should definitely be picked up because if Mac Jones continues to improve and play better, then Hunter Henry's going to be at least the top red zone target on that team.
Anyone else?
Not really, no.
Okay, there you go. I would say the one guy that I don't see on the list that we have in front of us that I would say possibly add is Zach Ertz.
Okay.
But I don't know the own percentage on him. He has actually been getting a decent target share, and Goder is probably not going to play Thursday night, so if you need a tight end, there you go. But anyway, there you go. Late on the outro music, but they're your waiver wire targets for week 6. Be sure to get these guys. And then tomorrow, check out our show, which is the Thursday night preview. Should be interesting. And enjoy your night.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.